Sam Dickinson and Michael Misa both make the Sharks opening night roster, but are they actually playing in the opening night game?
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everyday, all you have to do, just follow along wherever you get podcasts. Of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be overreacting to the San Jose Sharks opening night roster. We'll look at how the Sharks are spending their money, how much cap space they have, all that fun stuff. We're going to not panic about Michael Misa and Sam Dickinson. I'm going to remind you why. And then, of course, we'll look at what potential opening night lines could be for San Jose. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So after much too much delay, the San Jose Sharks finally release their opening night roster. We had a couple transactions as expected for the Sharks to get to 23. Igor Afasaniev and Jack Thompson, as well as Lucas Carlson, all placed on IR to start this season. Carlson, we know, will get placed on waivers at some point and head down to the Barracuda. Afasaniev and Jack Thompson are both considered day-to-day, but they will miss at least a week because of this transaction. So, and this was a way we had a feeling that the Sharks were going to put some guys on IR to try to get to their 23-man roster, kind of kick the can down the road as they get, not having to make some roster decisions. And the hope is in season here, it might be a little bit easier to kind of get some guys to waivers. Not that I'm worried about either Afasaniev or Jack Thompson sneaking through waivers because for the most part, GMs are cowards when it comes to actually using the waiver wire, and players who should be on NHL teams get snuck through all the time. Like And if you lose one, again, you're losing, it's part of the game. But the Sharks do need to probably move some contracts here to give them some more flexibility, at least so that way they can potentially use the waivers at some point. But let's get to it. Let's look at the actual roster here. So this comes via the San Jose Sharks in alphabetical order by last name. Forwards, Macklin, Celebrini, Ty Dellandrea, William Eklund, Adam Gaudette, Barclay Goodrow, Colin Graff, Phil Kershev, Michael Misa, Ryan Reeves, Jeff Skinner, Will Smith, Tyler Toffoli, and Alexander Wenberg. I think I got the whole thing right when I did my final projections, so feel really good about this. But no surprises here, right? And I know there's a section of fans, including myself, who would like to see guys like Cardwell and Musty and some of these other young guys get a shot. The Sharks are running a team that has 4 players 20 and under right now. They will get their opportunities, guys. They will get their opportunities. So 13 forwards, we have 8 defensemen, Vinny Desharnais, Sam Dickinson, Mario Ferraro, John Klingberg, Nick Leddy, Timothy Liljegren, Shakir Mukhamadullin, Dmitry Orlov, and then, of course, the goalies, Yaroslav Askarov and Alex Nedeljkovic. So nothing surprising here, especially when we saw the moves that the Sharks did not make on Sunday, right? And you didn't see guys like Ty Dellandrea or Ryan Reeves or some of these guys who were kind of contracts that you could probably slide through. You didn't see these type of guys on waivers. It signified what the Sharks were going to do, right? When they sent back Cagnoni and they sent back Cardwell and they put Pavel Regenda on waivers, the Sharks pretty much signaled this is the roster that we're going in. It was just how to get to this final 23 here. So, and among the 8 defensemen, we'll see how long that lasts. And we'll talk about Misa and Dickinson here in a little bit. But I think for the Sharks, we had a feeling that, especially with all the additions they had on the defense this offseason, right, with signing Orlov, signing Klingberg, claiming Leddy, and then getting Dickinson in the building, we knew they were probably going to try to take 8 into the season, just because you have so many veterans here. And we'll see. I assume when Thompson gets healthy, they'll probably put him on waivers to try to get down to the Barracuda. And then if the Sharks run into some roster issues where they need more forwards, I think Vinny Desharnais is a player who could potentially go on waivers to try to get down to the Barracuda, just to give yourself some flexibility. So here's where the Sharks stand cap wise, which is like a really weird number to look at, especially, the other thing, of course, right, is all the kind of dead space. I guess we'll get to that here right now. So the San Jose Sharks, of course, you have Logan Couture, Carey Price, Ryan Ellis, who are all on IR. Like they're not playing this season, right? Those guys are not playing this season. And then you also have Hurdle and Carlson. Their contracts from their buyouts are still on the cap, or from their retention. Sorry, excuse me, not buyouts. And then you have Knizhov, Martin Jones, and Mark-Edward Vlasic buyouts on the cap as well. So that's where all your contract / caps situations come from. So the Sharks are currently at $2.3 million projected cap space, which is we haven't seen the Sharks this close to the cap ceiling since COVID cap days, right? When they were trying to kind of nickel and coupon shop during free agency, etc. They're at $93.1 million right now, and then they have projected cap space of next year at $54 million. This number will change constantly throughout the year as players come up and players go down, et cetera, et cetera. This is a number that will change. If you're into trade deadline things, as we will be, they have a projected $10.5 million in cap space right now at the trade deadline. Again, we assume the Sharks will be sellers and moving players off the cap here instead of acquiring players. But again, plenty of time to kind of get there with that. So, all right, the really fun thing is how the Sharks are actually spending their money when it comes to the cap. So I like to pull up this little pie chart I made. So the Sharks are spending $36 million, which equivalent of 38.6% is all dead cap. And that is including Afasaniev and Thompson, who are both on IR right now. 30.2% of their money is going towards forwards at $28.2 million. The defense costs $24.7 million, which is at 26.4%. And then the goalies cost a whopping $4.5 million, which is 4.8% of their salary cap. So again, and the use of the dead cap is actually kind of intriguing move by Mike Grier in San Jose, because again, trying to get to the cap floor without spending money on a lot of fluff contracts. And you're kind of earmarking a lot of that money for your future stars in Celebrini and Smith, et cetera, and William Eklund when his new contract comes in. So again, it's just kind of fun to see how the money is spent and where it's spent. And a lot of it is spent on guys who are not going to be playing for the San Jose Sharks this year. So, but that is your roster. So congratulations to all the guys who make the roster. As we know, right, things are going to change a million times throughout the season with guys who come up, guys who goes down, guys who get injured, guys who have to come up for the roster's always in flux. It's a living, breathing document and thing that is always changing because of the needs of the hockey team. So it's disappointing some guys didn't make the roster right now, or that some guys did. Again, this thing changes constantly. So don't panic, which is a message that we're going to really rely on here in a minute as we talk about Michael Misa and Sam Dickinson, who again, both made the roster, but may not be suiting up on Thursday night. So we'll get to that in just 1 second. You just realized your business need to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed when it comes to hiring. Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. If you've ever been in the spot where you need to hire like yesterday, the pressure's on, and every day without the right person is a setback. That's exactly when Indeed sponsored jobs come in handy. They make sure your post is seen by the right candidates right now. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed is all you need. All right, guys. Of course, do want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen today. For your second listen, when you're done with this episode, go check out the Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, so of course we have our first game on Thursday, and there's already a ruckus because not everyone is in the lineup. Projected to be in the lineup that you hoped would be in the lineup, and that is with Michael Misa and Sam Dickinson. And let me start by saying, first of all, you have every right to be disappointed if neither, only one gets in the lineup for the opening night roster, right? Especially home opener, right? It's been a long summer. You've been waiting to watch these guys. You 100% have every right to be disappointed, but don't panic. I've already Ryan Warsofsky. What are the Sharks doing? Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. So let's rewind like 11 and a half months ago. So mid-October last year, right? And a young plucky Will Smith playing in his first full season in the NHL. And Will Smith, who people were getting very mad and upset. Oh my gosh, I can't believe the San Jose Sharks are keeping Will Smith out of back-to-back games. They're limiting his minutes. What are they doing to Will Smith? You're going to ruin him. This is like, what is Mike Grier doing? What is Ryan Warsofsky doing? Oh my God, this is the worst thing that ever happened to this franchise, right? And then Will Smith, right? They were very cautious with Will Smith, and they were very like the first half of the season. Right? Didn't play back-to-backs, got these development days, but they were working on making sure that the whole goal was to get him ready to play the second half of the season. What happened in the second half of the season? Will Smith scored 30 points in 34 games and was the second leading scorer on the team behind only one Macklin Celebrini. Fast forward to this year. And I've said, don't be surprised if, especially with Dickinson, right, where both these players have this 9-game trial where before you have to kind of make a decision and decide, do we want to send them, do we want to keep them in the NHL where their contract kicks in, or do we want to send them back to the OHL? I said with Dickinson, don't be surprised if they try to stretch this out as long as possible. You know how you stretch this out as long as possible? By not playing the kid all the time, right? Dickinson, Misa, like Dickinson especially, struggled last time the Sharks played the Golden Knights in their preseason game last Friday. Well, he played okay in that game, struggled mightily against Utah on the second night of a back-to-back, right? Misa turned 18, is not Macklin Celebrini. Again, not Macklin Celebrini. The Sharks here are trying to buy as much time as possible Give these kids every opportunity because, again, like their job is to make sure that they're playing better in the second half of the season, and you're seeing growth and development throughout the season. And if the Sharks feel like, again, like if they feel like giving these guys some, opportunity to continue to work out in the gym, work on their, skills, work on whatever they feel like they need to work on for these players, right? So that way they can be the best possible versions of themselves. And yes, playing NHL games is part of that. But closely monitoring and keeping the training wheels on the kids isn't a bad way to start the season. And yet, again, I understand it's disappointing. I'm disappointed. I'm going to be disappointed to not see Dickinson and Misa in the opening night roster. Believe me, I want to watch these kids, but I think we have to give Mike Grier and Ryan Warsofsky the benefit of the doubt when it comes to this because it worked so well with Will Smith last year. And I've said, even with Misa, right, they're probably going to keep the training wheels on him until about American Thanksgiving. And then the hope is with Misa, because I feel like he's such a much cleaner prospect than Will Smith, is that by then he can, you can take him off. Michael Misa is an every night player, right? If it's on the second line, third line, whatever it is, Michael Misa is an every night player by then. So it's okay. Like it's not the end of the world. How many games are in an NHL season? It's 82. Not one. This is not a one-game season, right? The entire goal of the San Jose Sharks is to continue to show progress throughout the season. So if Misa and Dickinson don't play game one, it's not the end of the world, okay? They will get plenty of opportunities to play. And again, the Sharks are trying to stretch out this decision as long as possible, make it more obtainable, right? If the Sharks just play, let them play their 9 games, and it was just like, here, guys, play your 9 games, and then we'll make a decision after that. I'm trying to pull up the schedule right now on the fly, but the Sharks this month, they play, they play multiple games. Like that's like by the end of the season, basically, is what the Sharks' 9 games would be. So 1, 2, NHL 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So game 9 would be October 26th. So less than a month from, like 3 weeks from now, would be game 9. If you stretch it out, right, and you don't let them play every game, 3 weeks can suddenly become 5 weeks. Where, again, how much development can you cram in 5 weeks for Dickinson and Misa compared to 3 weeks? Right? It just gives them a better opportunity to get up to speed. So that way you don't have to make that difficult decision to send them back to the OHL, where clearly both players are too good to be in the OHL. The Sharks are playing the long game with Dickinson and Misa. And I'm going to bet it works out because we saw it work out last year with Will Smith. Nobody knows these players better than Grier and his team and what they need to succeed. So again, 100% right to be disappointed, but I'm betting that in the long run, this is an opportunity for them to be able to stick around the NHL longer if you take your time getting them acclimated to an NHL experience. So we're going to discuss the opening night lines here, talk about who I think is going to be in net between Nedeljkovic and Askarov. So we're going to kind of poke at the lines here in just 1 second. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Great thing about FanDuel, it gives you so many ways to play. You can build parlays. So if you think of a series of events are going to happen over the weekend, player props, Darren Waller touchdown lock, question mark. You can even follow live lines during the games. And whether you're a casual fan or love diving into stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and to get started. I'm also super excited to tell you about my new favorite jeanswear brand, Doer. I've been living in their performance denim straight jeans, and honestly, they completely changed the game for me. I love Doer jeans because, one, they look great, right? You want to make sure your pants look good on you. But two, they're super comfortable. 5 times the stretch of traditional denim. They feel stretchy without actually looking stretchy. Doer combines classic jeanswear style with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear, the best of both worlds. There's a reason why they call them the world's most comfortable pants, but don't take my word for it. Go try out a pair for yourselves. Doer just opened up a store right here in Hayes Valley, so you can feel the difference firsthand. Go check them out on 567 Hayes Street. Mention our promo code LOCKEDONSF in store to get 15% off your first order. Or check them out online at shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF for 15% off. That's shopdoer.com/LockedOnSF. All right, so we have some lines. Shang, of course, well, Shang, Curtis, Max, they're all kind of tweeting about the lines as well today. But again, from the sound of it, it looks like Misa and Dickinson probably not going to be in the opening night lineup. And again, I'm disappointed. You have every right to be disappointed. Let's check back in like 5 weeks and see where we're at with these guys. So it's a long, long season. We saw different lines today. We saw Eklund, Celebrini, Smith, which is super fun. Toffoli, Wenberg, Skinner, Kershev, Dellandrea, Graf, Goodrow, Gaudette, Reeves. And then we did see a little bit of a flip here with Kershev, Celebrini, Smith, Eklund, Wenberg, Toffoli, Skinner, Dellandrea, Graf, Goodrow, Gaudette, Reeves. So expect like those top 6 guys to kind of, like a lot of those guys have enough chemistry with each other. Especially with Eklund, like Eklund, Toffoli, Celebrini, Smith, like those guys were all here last, and Wenberg too. Like all of those guys were here last year. Like they have enough chemistry with each other, and they've worked with each other enough that like you can kind of tweak those lines. So Kershev, I think he'll get probably the first opportunity with Celebrini and Smith. We saw Kershev be very successful with Connor Bedard. That's when he put up his 50-point season. Wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of that line connector, does a little bit of the dirty stuff on that line for them. So I do think it is interesting that Dellandrea is getting the first crack at the 3C, especially because of what we saw from Adam Gaudette this training camp, and especially in the preseason, where I thought Gaudette was way more effective than Dellandrea. And like I thought Dellandrea had a solid preseason and probably saved his job because of the way he played in the preseason. But I do think it's a little interesting there. Also, there could just be trying to split up Dellandrea and Goodrow, where like if you look at the numbers with those two guys together, they are not super great. So, and we saw Gaudette be really effective with Goodrow and Reeves on his wings. So maybe Warsofsky just wants to roll with that fourth line because especially, we heard how positive he was in the game against Utah, where that line played pretty well together. So we'll see there, but that Dellandrea, it's a little interesting there. You wonder though if Dellandrea is the placeholder for Misa, or when Misa comes in, if he takes that second line spot with Eklund Toffoli. So I know Misa was kind of mixing in. He was mixing in with the Eklund Toffoli line per Shang Peng, which would make sense, right? You want to put Michael Misa in a position to succeed. And I think playing with Eklund Toffoli is your best position to succeed there. So defensively, no kind of big changes. Letty Klingberg, Ferraro Liljegren, Orlov Mukmadulin, and the Darnay's Dickinson is the extras right now. So I think that's going to be it. And then, assuming Dickinson will slide in for like Orlov or whomever kind of comes in there. So I do like the Orlov Mukmadulin there. But I really like that one combo because I think Mukmadulin can help kind of with his speed and stuff. But yeah, I think that's probably going to be what you're seeing there. In net, though, I think the more I think about it, the more I think Nedeljkovic is going to be the opening night starter, just because I think he had a really strong preseason and he played really well against the Golden Knights, even with the baby squad right on Friday. So I think that's my guess, as I assume it's going to be Nedeljkovic there. But like again, we knew the plan was probably going to be a very 50-50 split between Nedeljkovic and Askarov. So if Nedeljkovic starts on Thursday, don't be surprised if Askarov starts on Saturday. Like I assume they want to keep it even for both these guys to try to, kind of split the reps. But and two, like they want to make sure, Askey gets in there and gets some games, right? I think the worst thing they could do is just let Nedeljkovic get the net. And then I think Askarov's going to probably kind of start to, then he's going to push more when he does get in there thinking like, I have to make a big save. I have to make a big play, whatever it is type of situation. So I'm very much very much thinking that it's probably Nedeljkovic, but again, it's going to be 50-50 split throughout especially the early part of the season. And the hope is Askarov claims the net throughout the season. Again, the season's 82 games. It's a marathon, right? And the whole goal of the season is progress for these players, right? Progress for Celebrini, progress for Will Smith, Eklund, Askarov, Dickinson, Misa, like growing and developing for these players. And you want them to put them in a position to succeed throughout the year. So yes, you're allowed to be disappointed. But again, we want to see where is this team in 5 weeks, right? That's the big question. That's going to be kind of the big question this season is to start the season, right? Where is this team in 5 weeks, right before kind of Thanksgiving? How is this team performing then? Are they getting better? Are you seeing progress from the young players? Because that's the most important thing this year. So we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with some sort of leadership news. We'll probably also kind of talk about some predictions and all that fun stuff. And then we'll be getting ready for a game Thursday night. Sharks, Golden Knights. It's here, guys. It is here. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow. Bye, friends.